Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Had a very short mayor's report as usual. Want to welcome a new business, the cannabis. I attended the ribbon cutting, and so we welcome them to Herman. I wanted to make a statement for those that are not aware or those that are aware. We had a workshop with business owners that provide outdoor music. This was a time for them to discuss, give suggestions on trying to find solutions that are upsetting some of our citizens. I thought it was a success. I was happy so many participated. They were, I think everybody was cordial, got along. There was good ideas, good discussions. I think we need to give it a little bit of time to let the businesses, they're trying to coordinate amongst themselves and see if they can come up with a final suggestion that we, the board, can approve instead of trying to come down with an ordinance. I do want to apologize though. We had that workshop, and it was a workshop, not a public meeting, and I said no citizens' comments. There was a gentleman sitting in the back on the left, and I recognized him as a musician. He was not an owner of a shop, and I let him speak. All the business owners were in front of me, and a hand went up in the back, and I recognized, and when she stood up and started talking, I realized she was not really a music provider neither. So I apologize for that. I goofed. So that was my mistake. There were some citizens that were upset that they did not have time to voice their opinions. I'm taking into consideration, and in the very near future, we will have a small workshop, so anybody that wants to voice their opinions can do so. Equal time. Also, I don't know if you noticed, they started working on the fall streets today. Be patient. The weather's not going to be cooperating with them, so it's going to take a little bit longer than they anticipated. And just be aware that they're out there doing the best they can. That's all I have. I have a proclamation for Mr. Goldbush. You want to step up front there? I have to read this, so sometimes I'm not real good with some of that. Okay. This is a mayor proclamation to recognize the community spirit of Vernon Goldbush. Herman is known to be a beautiful community filled with civic-minded people who care about one another. And whereas Vernon Goldbush is known to be a person who cares about the community, the schools, and its youth, having served them all for over 36 years, including assisting with FFA activities. And whereas Vernon has volunteered a great many hours to singing at the senior center, directing school traffic, even dressing in costume to bring a smile to a driver's face. And whereas Vernon is a community asset who never hesitates to volunteer, to help when asked, and always brings positivity with him. And whereas Vernon is with us tonight to receive this proclamation, and whereas it is my high honor and distinct privilege to bestow this award on him. Now therefore, I, Bruce Cox, Mayor of Herman, Missouri, do hereby proclaim the city of Herman does recognize and commend Vernon Goldbush for his volunteer contributions and hours of selfless community service. In witness whereof, I have hereunto my hand caused the official seal of Herman, Missouri to be affixed on this 11th day of October, 2021. Thank you for everything you did. Herman Blue Oval Club, yes. Come up to the pavilion, please. Or the pavilion.
Podium.
The podium. You spoke again. Not doing so well.
Jerry can come too.
Huh?
Jerry can come too.
Yeah, with the Midwest Blue Oval Club, this year, we had the car show down on 4th Street in the beginning of August. We had about 100 cars over there and brought in a good amount of money for this year due to the sponsorship of all the local businesses throughout the Herman area. And
Thank you.
who's with Carrie?
Huh?
You know who Carrie? Herman Carrie? Okay, somebody's supposed to be in there. When you go out to these businesses, you'll see a plaque that says sponsorship for 2021 hanging on their walls. Thank them for their sponsorship. Without them and the participants that came to the show from St. Louis to Kansas City,
Arkansas.
Arkansas, they all came. So I'd like to thank everybody for that. You're with the youth, huh?
Yeah, that's what,
This year, we're including the Herman Youth Hunt. We always try to have the anything to do with the kids in the Herman area, so that they would have some activities or spruce up something around the area or something that has to deal with the kids. And this year, we're donating $1,458 to the Herman Youth
We're going to make a lot of kids very happy. They have mouths that wide and smiles that wide.
All right.
Glad to help
Hey,
you
wait a
out.
minute, I need a picture of you two together.
Oh, together?
Please.
I don't even know him. Oh,
All right.
Representative from Showboat?
I know you must.
Dave, will you accept it for the showboat?
Oh,
please?
Okay. Showboat Theater always lets us use their lobby on the day of the show for participants to come in and register for their vehicles, have some place to cool off, and have some place for us to distribute drinks and stuff. This year, we're going to donate $1,000 to the Showboat Theater. Run in Park.
I don't have anybody here.
I don't see
Susan,
anybody either.
step up. Pull your mask down, please.
I've had my vaccine.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, look, see,
This year, we're doing Ryan Park, it's new for this year. A lot of kids from the Herman area, especially during baseball season, softball season, goes over and uses that park. With the use of the park, it's going to start needing to get some repairs done to it. So this year, we're donating $2,000 to the Ryan Ballpark. And this is in addition to the $833 they received earlier this year from the Midwest Blue Oval Club on a car show that was put on in Eureka Springs that Mustang Club of America donates to the club, $2,500 to be split up between their charities. We had 3 charities to give it to, and $833 went to those charities. Ryan Park was one of those. Thank you very much.
Thank you for what you do. Okay, we'll move on to City Administrator report.
Just a couple things.
I wanted to bring your attention to the motor fuel tax that went into effect on October 1. Last week, the AC had a good article in there, but I wanted to let you know how that's going to impact us directly. That there's an increase immediately of 2.5 cents per gallon. And that's going to go up each fiscal year by that amount until it reaches 12.5 cents per gallon July 2025. So the money's being shared by the state's getting 70% of that, and cities and counties are each getting 15% of that. But the 2.5 cents per gallon is going to look like $11,800 a year for us, accumulating each year until the total in 2025 should be, these are approximate based on population and usage, of course. It'll be about $47,000 annually when all is said and done. So I wanted to let you know what that looked like in real numbers. Thursday, I have a bunch of meetings Thursday. I'll have chamber at 7 a.m. And then in the afternoon, there's a TAC meeting, the Transportation Advisory Committee at 4, and an MRPC meeting at 5. I will be attending both of those via Zoom. The TAC meeting got me to thinking about a recent conversation that I had with Preston Kramer. He just wanted to kind of update me and update you all about the bridge again, just to remind us to kind of start saving our pennies. They, of course, had great news when they discovered that the bridge, the girders were very solid, that they were going to continue to use those due to this project's on schedule for 2024. They're going to reuse the girders, and they don't know yet if they're going to expand to the east or the west, but one side or the other, they want to correct that narrow lane problem. Said it's not going to have any impact on the businesses. Floodplain issues should not be involved at all. But they're going to do the basic structure of the bridge, and then the city will be responsible for putting in any pedestrian barricades and anything aesthetic. So he didn't have a good number for us. He just really rough number. He said maybe $150,000. But anyway, that's something that we can be thinking about and saving our money for that in the future. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, dispatch supervisor.
So in August 2nd of this year, the National Weather Service created a new alert categories for severe thunderstorm warnings to better convey the severity of thunderstorms. The category is a destructive severe thunderstorm warning, which is the threat of baseball-sized hail and wind or wind at 80 miles per hour. Which, if you look at a weak tornado, an EF0 and an EF1, the winds in those are 65 to 110 miles per hour. Currently, our procedure that we have put in place for setting off the siren in Herman is only for tornado warnings. When we set up the policy 20 some odd years ago, we intentionally set it up that way because we didn't want the siren going off all the time and citizens ending up ignoring it or not knowing what the siren meant. So we only set it up for tornado warnings. Because of the level of this destructive severe thunderstorm warning, we would like to upgrade the policy that communications follows and also set off the siren for these destructive thunderstorm warnings. It shouldn't be a significant change in what we've set up the sirens at now, because according to the National Weather Service, only 10% of all thunderstorms across the entire United States actually meet this level of a destructive thunderstorm warning. So I've already talked to public safety, police, fire, and ambulance, and we're all pretty well in agreement that this is probably a good idea to do. So all I need is permission from you all to change the policy that we follow in communications.
Yes.
Need that in the form of a motion.
I think that would be appropriate.
So moved.
Motion's been made, seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? You have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Okay, we'll move to public comments. Mike Landau.
I could go back in my archives and see, but it was actually 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, Christmas lights were strung down 4th Street and down 1st Street. Building to building, they looked fantastic. They're still there. It's kind of like that house in your neighborhood that never takes down their Christmas lights and never even turns them on anymore. They go to heck and they get broken and hanging down and they look very ragged. I was wondering if there was any thought to cleaning them back up. Putting them back up and making them work would be great. At least taking them down so they don't look so bad would be almost as good, because they look bad all over town.
The city light, the lights that were put up was not done by the city itself. And the city actually has no authority to take them off individuals' buildings. So it would be up to the owners of those buildings to remove them or redo it. See, last time what they did that, then they plugged it into the street lights, and they blew the whole system. It cost us a whole lot of money to fix
I
it.
understand.
So it would be up to
So they're just gonna stay there until each individual owner comes up with the money to take their own down?
well, like I say, the city, I can't go to your house and take your lights down with
Well-
city equipment. You know, anyway,
Who put them up?
I think that was a chamber project.
I'm not sure exactly who put it up, but I believe it was Bryson did it for them, it was for hire, I think.
Yes?
Don't quote me on that.
Oh,
but-
I'm pretty sure that's correct.
But like I say, it's really not a city, it was never a city function. Yeah, I think it looked great. I liked it.
We paid for it.
But we ended up paying for it in the long run.
It is the
big money.
city that looks terrible because of it.
I agree with you. Thank you for your input. Nancy Satter.
Satchel.
I always say tire for some reason.
So I realize that you apologized
I'm
earlier.
sorry, I was supposed to be keeping track of the time. I apologize. 3 minutes.
Go ahead.
I'm under 3 minutes. I already timed it. Anyway, I appreciate you apologizing for the workshop the other day. I know that some of you didn't even realize what was going on about separating us. Now, I am a business, and I could play music. And I just want to let everybody know that. I really should have sat there in the center with the other businesses, because there were some others there who haven't been playing music either. I really think that, eliminate, and I realize, like I said, you've apologized, but I think it's important that we remember that when you do things like this, it's a sour note, and I just don't want to see it happen again. Because, here, as you saw, I get 3 minutes. Well, 3 minutes isn't much to put out what my thoughts are, and then quite often when you go and sit back down, then somebody up here will say something that maybe I agree with, maybe I don't, but at a workshop I would have been able to respond to that. And I just don't want to see this turn into basically communism, cancel culture. What we have to say is important, and the citizens have been feeling like they're being canceled. And I definitely felt like we were discriminated against, several of us. There were 2 of us who had businesses that were in the group that weren't allowed to sit with the others. So like I said, I know you apologize, but I think it's important that everybody knows that some of us really noticed. In fact, if it had been televised, a lot of people would have noticed, and I hope it isn't going to happen again. And that's basically my point, and I'm way under 3 minutes. Anybody got any questions while I'm up here?
Appreciate
Okay.
your comments.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Gerber.
Thank you for the time to be able to talk. I'm going to hand this out and talk at the same time. I've tried to get before the group twice already, and I talked to Mayor Cox, and he didn't feel now was the time to do this. He wants this group to go off and do their thing and come back with something. And I agree with that. I think that's a good idea. I'm not sure how long they have to go off and what they're going to come back with, but when they do, then I certainly hope that the citizens get a chance to put their 2 cents worth in, and without input from the music players, but the citizens, whoever shows up, if anybody, gets to talk and tell their side of it. Now, I've handed this out, and because I have 3 minutes, I may not get a chance to explain it, but this is the noises that, and the music makers, and their proximity to one another in the downtown area. The bigger circle on the set page 2 is where the music can be heard from, and then the other sheet behind it tells how it was all calculated. It came from the U.S. Postal Service basis of how many addresses are in that part of the city within those circles, and there's about 800 people there. There's 2.2 people for every address, and there's about 800 people in that big concentric circle on page 2, and about 400 and some odd in the center there. So there's a significant number of people. Now, the rest of the time, I have whatever that is, I'm going to talk about decibels. Decibels will work for you to use as an ordinance. I hope you don't try to do that, because you'll create an ordinance that you can't enforce. I wrote an ordinance, Mr. Polite and I, because we were tasked to do something for the people at CETAL because of the trucks that were coming down there, and that was just one thing, the J brakes. Also, there were diesel trucks and all kinds of other noise in town, and people demanded something, as well as music. And I found out that this decibel would work fine if you could stop a truck and measure it. But you can't, that's not music. Music is moving all the time. It is a number of different notes put together to make them sound good. Unfortunately, that's not what we have. We have 6 or 7 places playing at the same time. So it doesn't really sound good, it's just loud. Decibels will record the sound and loudness of the music, but they won't record the force. They're heavily reliant on how far the measurement device is from the source. Basically, in order to be able to compare music venue 1 and music venue 2, you're going to have to measure it at the source. And I can tell you how to do that if you let me come back when the time is right for you and explain that. But it can be done, but it's going to be very difficult. It won't work for bed and breakfast and guest houses.
Thank you for your input.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to resolution.
The resolution on for this evening is number 1312, a resolution authorizing the issuance of festival space permits for October.
Any discussion?
Move to approve.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution is passed. Old business? No old business? You sure? New business?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a beautiful, beautiful Veterans Memorial right in the middle of Market Street. Comes down from the old firehouse down to where 3rd Street and Market Street or Highway 19 meet. We've had a recurring problem with people sticking signs in that memorial. That's not what that's for. If anybody's complained about signs being missing, more than likely I'm the one that took them. I take them straight to the police department. If you'd like them back, you're welcome to go out there and get them. That memorial is hallowed ground. Signs do not belong there, not for any reason. I don't care what charity it's for, whose birthday it is, any reason. Please do not put them there. It is a violation of the law. That's interrupting. It's basically the same thing as messing with a cemetery. So I beg everybody, please do not put anything in that green space anymore, because it's simply not going to stay there. It will be removed. So that's all I have.
Any other new? Okay, we'll move on to motions then. Do I have a motion to accept the previous minutes?
I move to approve minutes from the last meeting.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion made and second. Motion to pay the bills.
Move we pay the bill.
Motion been made to pay the bills, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Conditional use permit renewal for Arminius Holdings LLC doing business Herman, 1837 403 Market Street, liquor sales for outdoor consumption.
Move to approve.
I have a question on this. From when I read this, I think we need to wait for the proper channels to happen, where it's supposed to go to Landmarks Commission first. And then this is projected for next April. Then the building inspector needs to approve the diagram, the schematics of what's going to be built. And the health department has to sign off on any kitchen cooking outdoors too. So if we approve this, we're overstepping those other.
This is not for the kitchen, this is just for the outdoor. Am I correct?
The renewal is for their outdoor liquor sales, consumption outside, but Steve was asking for an amendment. He was explaining, really the only thing I think that might affect the conditional use permit is the capacity. And I guess thereby impacted by if the outdoor kitchen's gonna take up any of your capacity, you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. Do you want me to?
Yeah, if you would step up.
Come on,
Is your
So,
outdoor kitchen gonna take any of your seating area? You're gonna do that underneath there, aren't
so
you?
we're gonna do it in between the two, and Steve Ballmer, Herman Crown Suites, Herman 1837 bar. So it's gonna be in between the two buildings and back along, there was an island, there's a landscaped island, that's where we're gonna put our outdoor kitchen. So our thought was, I think we desired to increase capacity by 12 seats as a result, because it's almost careful what you wish for, but we think that the outdoor kitchen area and serving food through there will increase popularity. So we tried to, we had the amendment up to
I think it says something
180.
about 20, so.
Yeah, from 174 up to 186 as far as capacity. It also states that that building will go through Landmarks Committee. So this was just providing some, and then we'll get a permit, obviously.
How do
So
you
that
measure
was-
capacity?
I would
How do you
determine.
measure, yeah, how many people?
So think of a few things to think about. We have our area, and early on, about 10 years ago, when we first bought the guest houses, that would equal, and then we told the alderman at that time and the mayor, we are not going any more guest houses, and we desire to push those people down to the commercial district instead of in the residential areas. Okay? So there you have 24. You have up to 24 guests that we're trying to remove from the residential area and down to our commercial property. Okay? Now each guest, they will get specials for drinks that are part of their package, and then they will get food-related free food items as well for our guests. So we have 24 at the guest houses. Then at our properties right now, right in that area in the commercial district, we have, let's see, 76, a total of 76. So right now, well, once Randy's the 111 East 4th, we will be serving 110 of our own guests. And remember, this is a mixed-use property, so we have hotel guests staying in here that need space, but that's part of the hotel as well, that this is one of the key features, especially in COVID times. We want them outside, we don't want them inside during COVID. So 188 is the desire for that total. We have reached out to Commercial Code Consultants, Inc. out of St. Louis. They are going to not only analyze Randy Eicherman's building, as far as if it needs sprinklers, if it needs a second exit, and then check the integrity of the steps, but also check on the commercial code requirements on that particular, the patio area. It's gonna cost a little bit of money, but hey, if we're good, Kevin Meyer with insurance is good, and we've done it to code.
How soon are you gonna need the extra 12 seats? How soon are you gonna need the extra 12 seats?
When the kitchen's done, April, May.
Well, Jim's correct, this needs to go before landmarks and get their approval for that and everything. As far
Okay.
as renewing the others, that's a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
simple deal.
Okay.
Other thing to take into consideration, I believe city administrator sent out where Lee Regal advised you need a 5-foot wide walk from 4th Street to the alley. That's gonna take up some of the
Sure.
zoning area too.
So that was, I believe that was his suggestion. That was his suggestion. So we are going straight to the commercial code experts out of St. Louis that just deal in this issue. I'm sure it's going to cost me $5,000 to get it done, but hey, let's do it. Let's make sure that we're okay with commercial code.
Can we approve just the permit without the extra seating until we see what happens with the code consultants and
Fine with me.
Yeah.
the...
I think if we
zoning?
approve it, we're overriding anything landmarks would say, or anything the building inspector or the health department would say.
Yep.
So then we come back to, well, the Board of Aldermen approved it.
Yeah.
The final
Yeah,
word.
I wouldn't do that, but yeah, that's fine.
So what we're approving is liquor sales for outdoor consumption.
Correct. I just provided too much
Yeah, because your date on this is 10/10, like 2016, so it's basically time to renew the outdoor liquor part, but the rest of it, I agree, should be approved by landmark. So are we
So
allowed
are
to
we
do that?
Sure, so are we renewing it at his capacity from last year?
As far as the liquor?
Yeah.
consumption?
Okay.
So moved.
So I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit remaining the date stated on 10/26/20. Because we increased the occupancy then, so we'll use that one.
That's fine.
And then the other part, you need to go to landmark.
Oh, sure.
Have that approved, and then
You got it. You got it.
that's the proper way. Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next we have a caterer's permit for Adam Cookter Winery for Witches and Wine event space 4th and Schiller Street, October 21st, 2021.
Move to approve.
Motion made, second.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Festival event application, Homestyle Eats, food truck sales, Herman Crown Suites parking lot, 403 Market, October 16th, 23rd, and 30th.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Festival event application, Dearborn Educational Foundation, Herman Farm Distillery, ticketed event, food trucks, Herman Farm, 5026 East First Street, October 30th, 2021.
I move to approve.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Need to move into a closed session.
I move we adjourn open session and go in closed session for the purpose of dealing with matters relating to hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting employees pursuant to state statutes.
Have a motion?
We were supposed to be on the agenda, I thought. When I talked to Tricia, I thought you were on the agenda.
What did we miss?
Yeah, you're fine.
No, we
Didn't make a
were
card,
supposed to
yeah.
pull out a speaker card and speak during closed session, I thought.
But I'm sorry, I was confused on this.
No, the agenda was already posted when, they're closed Wednesday at noon and posted on Thursday.
So we can't be here to talk about it, we've, okay,
Yeah, motion.
thought we
been-
were on the agenda. But we're not able to speak,
No,
no?
not according to the rule. I have a motion to go into close, a second.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We need a roll call vote.
Vote.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Aye.
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 Nay.
3 ayes and a nay. Now I close session. Thank you everyone for attending.
Section, next one. Whether it's at,
Oh, yeah.
on there, football team, will be this out.
Yeah, 400 yards rushing from North Texas.
Yeah.